Yo, what's going on, guys? Ron here, aka News, and today I want to talk about Dracotail-Shaddoll, right? So, with all the other decks in the format, Yummy, Canine Vanquish Soul, Luna Light, they really have like everything it seems like figured out, right? Everything is, pretty cookie cut for them now. Yummy's playing a bunch of hand traps, a bunch of starters. Dracotail is in the exact opposite position, right? People are still fighting, trying to figure out what the best way to play the deck is, right? Is it pure? Is it with branded? Is it Shaddoll? Is it, you know, dragon made, right? There's so many different things, right? Canine Vanquish Soul is, pretty cookie cut as well, right? They've kind of figured out the bricking problem, maximizing their starters, fixing the consistency, right? Stuff like that. This, I think, is by far the best way to play Dracotail, right? And I'm going to get into why. This deck rewards you with exponential return on investment with the Shaddoll cards, right? So not only do you have access to the Shaddoll package, I also have access to the Dragoon package with the King of the Swamps, as you can see right here, and Polymerization. In addition to that, we also have additional ways to fuse now, right? So we normally, right, in the regular Dracotail deck, you have 1, 2, 3, right? So you have 3 with 5 mana, 3 with normal summoning Malulu, 3 with the Dracotail Ketsu, and that's only going second, or if my opponent plays on my turn. And then we have 3 with Rahu, right? So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 ways to fusion summon, right? So you have a really good chance of opening it, right? But you don't want a normal summon to fuse, right? That's not really that great. So King of the Swamp gives you an additional 4, which gives you 16 ways to fusion summon, right? And on top of that, when you draw double of King of the Swamp, it's not a problem because now you can make Dragoons very easily, right? Use that extra Ethereal line that you have that you've already used his effects. He's just a body on the board to go ahead and make Dragoons, right? Exponential return on investment. It actually rewards you for drawing duplicates, right? So for the, we're gonna go ahead and run through the engine real quick, right? 1 Pan, 1 Urgula. You don't need to play more than this. We're playing sub engines. If you're playing pure, yes, you can play multiples. However, like I already said, you don't want to play pure. This is the version you want to play. 3 5 mana, best card in the deck, right? She's the one that's gonna let you fusion summon not only on your turn but your opponent's turn, giving you that ability to get that return on investment. We have our Lucius, right? Normal summoning him gets us our access to 5 mana. He's definitely the second best thing in the deck. We have Malulu. Normal summoning him, normally only when you have him and Lucius, because if you get Impermanent Veilered on Lucius, right, he's kind of dead. Whereas Malulu, he gives you the chance, if you're especially going first, to fusion summon again on your opponent's turn. Shaddoll package. We have the Beast, the Dragon, the Hedgehog, and then 2 Squamata. Squamata being a 2-up because he's the, again, highest return on investment, being able to dump any one of these 3, and then them getting their inherent effects, right? Going second, you can dump the Dragon, giving you a spell or trap pop. You can dump the Hedgehog, giving you the ability to get Beast, right? You're not normally going to raw dump Beast to get the draw 1, unless you're really needing that extra just random draw, and you don't want the Shaddoll. So we have the King of the Swamp package, which I already mentioned, giving you access to the Dragoon. And then we obviously have all the spells here down here at the bottom. And then the 2 traps, which are the actual bricks of the deck, right? So through everything that I just mentioned, the only bricks in this deck are these 2 cards. We're playing 40 cards with 2 actual bricks. These don't count, really. These are like, I call those pseudo bricks. You've probably heard me use that term before. This is only when you don't have the ability to fusion summon that these become bricks, right? Because they don't do anything on their own. As soon as you have the ability to fusion summon, these cards go, like I said, exponential return on investment, right? Being able to pop Spell or Trap, or being able to pop Monster, right? Respectively. Going on to the extra deck, Guardian Chimera, again, high investment return on for your whatever you fusion summon with, right? Getting the value either out of your Shaddolls or your Dracotails, being able to chain block him almost always, and him giving the return, being able to pop cards and draw cards on top of that, right? So if you use like Beast and then like 2 Dracotails, you can set 2 cards, draw a card, and then draw an additional card and pop 2, right? It's like I said, the value is insane, right? You use 3 cards, right? You use 3 cards, right? You're gonna get let's say you use 2 hand traps and a Shaddoll monster, right? So you get a draw card, right? Or you get to add a card, for example, right? If it's Hedgehog. So some sort of return on investment, even if it's Dragon, you're gonna pop something else in addition, right? Because you're gonna get a chain block, so they can't ash your Chimera Dragon, your Guardian Chimera. I mean, you're going to get the pop off of Guardian Chimera, which is 1 or 2 pops, and you're gonna get the draw 1 or draw 2. So for 3 cards, even if you use hand traps, right, you only get 1 thing of return on investment. You're getting 4 returns. 4, and that's assuming you have dead cards in your hand. Which, if you look here, right, look how much stuff we have, right? Look, like there's so much stuff to give you that return on investment. Ethereal Lion being able to bounce your stuff back to hand, especially recycling your Shaddolls. We have the Mysterion, very good in the Yummy matchup, floodgating your opponent into preventing them from special summoning, or at least forcing them to play a certain way. Otherwise, they run the risk of losing their entire board, right? Secretarion Dragon specifically used for the mirror, preventing your opponent from playing. Sometimes I've made this turn 0 where I floodgated my own opponent. They go to they can't make the Ethereon anymore because this will prevent them from bouncing their resources back, right? And it just tanks their resource value. Gulamau, again, we can recycle him with the traps. We can recycle him with Ethereal Lion. He's going to come back anyways if 2 or more stuff sent to the graveyard, right? Perfect. We have the Dragoon for the Shaddoll package. This card is absolutely insane right now, right? Tell me right now in the comments, what is your opponent going to do to a boss monster that has 3,000 or more attack that can't be targeted and can't be destroyed by card effect? What are they going to do? Right? They can droplet, right? Or let's say they're going second, right? And they have, for example, Dark Ruler, right? Those are options. But outside of that, think about your deck and your deck engine, right? How are you going to out this card? Do you have an engine way to get rid of this card that doesn't target, that doesn't destroy, that can you beat over it? What are you doing about this card? This card, when it hits the field, is almost game over for your opponent. Almost game over. It's almost as good as Winda, and Winda's only better because it's a floodgate. That you can, your opponent goes Effective Fusion Summon, and you go, okay, cool, Chain Effective Fusion Summon, use both of my Shaddolls in hand. Summon this, they special summon, they're locked for the rest of the turn. Turn 0! Turn 0! You can make both of these turn 0. You can make all of these turn 0, right? If you're going second, you can make all of these, right? I've had times where I've had Urgula in hand, again, like I said, a Pseudo Brick, Phimena, and a Shaddoll card in hand, or multiple Shaddoll cards in hand. And I can make Gristia turn 1, they go to Link Summon, I negate the Link Summon, and I pitch Beast and draw a card. The exponential return on investment, I'm going to keep saying it, exponential return on investment. As you keep playing the game, you keep getting more and more back, right? You're going to go ahead, add the cards back to your hand, right? The next turn's going to come. You're going to go ahead and use them. They're going to give you more stuff in return. You're going to get the draws. You're going to get the dumps. You're going to get the adds to hand. You're going to get the sets. You're going to get the draws. Again, more draws. You're going to get the put on the bottom of the deck and recycle, right? You're just going to keep going. Like I said, the longer the game goes, the more likely you are to win, right? The only games that I've lost playing this deck is I get blown out like game 1. That's literally the only time. Even in the mirror match, right? I've had mirror matches where they're playing pure, right? And I win the mirror matchup because my return on investment is so incredibly high. Still in the extra deck here, right? We have Garua and the Mud Dragon for the Super Poly. Super Poly's been really good. I'm not super sold on it yet. I think it's proper, but I haven't really had it to where it's just mind-blowingly crazy. It's definitely really good, uninterrupted. Ability to fusion summon, but then again, like I said, you're chain blocking, right? It's not like I don't really use it for Guardian Chimera. It's just, like I said, it's usually used for the super poly targets. We have the the link package, right? Spirit being able to use Lucius and make a dragon. That way you can make spheres, giving certain lines. And then SP. The extra deck is not really, fleshed out yet. However, Fenrir is... If you're not playing Fenrir, I think you're not playing it properly. Because going first, this card is insane. You special summon this card, and if you're playing it at like K9 or into the mirror matchup, if they interact with you, you can banish their shit face down. Right? This Fenrir, just specialing Fenrir and then go on the field, it is, again, one of those things that exponentially returns on investment because he replaces himself and he's an additional interruption for free. For free. He's literally for free because he replaces himself. Special summon, effect, search, add Fenrir. You still have 5 cards in hand, you have him on board. If they go effect, fusion summon, effect to bounce, right? They have to bounce him, right? Because if they don't bounce him, he's going to banish their like ethereal line face down. And if they do bounce him, he specials back. You just re-special summon him, right? It doesn't matter. If you control no cards, no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Not once per turn. So if they bounce him, right now you've got 6 cards in your hand, you just special him back. It doesn't matter. Right? It's insane, right? So I want to showcase this exponential return on investment, right? So we're going to go through a couple combos here. And I will be right back with those combos. Alright, so we're going to start off with the 1.5 card combo, right? So this is going to be normal summoning Lucas into basically what you can maximize and get for this character, right? So we're going to go ahead, grab 5 mana, right? Pretty simple. You've probably seen this line before, right? So we're going to head fusion summon. We're going to use ethereal line. We're going to go ahead. We're going to use Lucius off the field, and we're going to use... we can use 2 monsters from hand, right? We'll use 2 monsters, right? We have multiples, right? We're trying to get again our return on investment, right? So we'll go ahead, chain link 1. We'll go ahead and put both of these back in the hand, right? And then we can go ahead and chain block and set Rahu, right? So now we have everything back in the hand. We'll go ahead and activate effect, make this. We're gonna go ahead and use Urgula from deck and 5 mana from hand. Cool. Special summon. We'll go effect, chain link 1. Chain link 2. These are going to set both of our traps, obviously, right? Boom. Boom. Don't destroy anything. And now we have Urgula's ability to go ahead and recycle our mana back to hand. And here we go. Right? So, yes, we had to use 2 monsters from hand, right? But we've returned that investment with 2 traps, ability to pop, ability to fusion summon, and an additional ability to set a follow-up for next turn, right? So this can set Ketu, Rahu, whatever the possibility that we might need, right? So, if we pass turn here, right, we let our opponent play a little bit, they summon, right? We go effect to fusion summon, right? And we have the ability to chain to pop. We're not going to do that. We can go ahead and make the ethereal line if you wanted to. We can make Secretarion Dragon. We can make Mysterion, the Dragon Crown, right? Multiple different options here, right? So we can go ahead. We can go Ethereal Lion, right? I like using the Ethereal Lion off of the field just because he's going to be able to float later on now, right? Because now if anything happens next turn, I'll be able to more easily OTK because when I go to Fusion Summon, I'm going to bring back him and have an additional 3,000 beater, right? So I could do just the 2. If I wanted to, I can do additional, right? We're not going to. We'll just do the 2. Summon. Effect, chain link 1, go ahead, put 5 mana back to hand, chain link 2, chain block, right? And then we could do chain link 3. We'll do chain link 3, bounce, right? Normally I would say this for battle step, right? But like I said, this is the bot, so we're not going to really worry about that. Play something on the bottom, right? So Lucius is still there. We're going to go ahead and put Lucius back, right? Gonna put Lucius back, and then we can go ahead and set Rahu, right? Giving Eteria our ability to fusion summon, right? And then we drew a card. So this is what we have now, right? So now when I go to fusion summon, if I go fusion summon, right? Don't worry about it. We can do this. We can send the one off the field if you want to. We can go. Let's see. We can do Malulu to negate something if you wanted to. We could do, like I said, we have plenty of options, right? Let's say we needed to pop a monster. We could do Pan. We need to pop a spell or trap. We could do Urgula. We're going to do Urgula just because. And then we'll do, we have multiples. We'll do this. summon, right? And now look at this, right? So now we have effect to summon, right? Because more than 2 monsters went to the graveyard. We have effect to bounce, right? So now we're going to bounce. We could bounce like all these hand traps back to hand, right? We could bounce these two, this, right? If we wanted to, we could bounce the one from grave. We're not going to do that. We're going to get 5 mana back anyway, so we're not worried about that, right? So we'll do bounce the hand traps. We'll go ahead and chain, effect to set, right? Set this, right? And we'll set another Rahu. Not going to destroy anything, right? Special summon. And then we can go again, Urgula, add back 5 mana, recycle. And now look, like I said, exponential return on investment, right? Plenty enough to OTK my opponent. We still had, if they had like a set, you know, for example, Droplet, right? Droplet from before, you know, that's like it being your only out. You have Flame to prevent your opponent from board breaking you. Whether it be your Dark Rulers, right? Your Droplets, right? If they don't send a trap off of off of Droplet, they just lose all their investment, right? And then look, I added the hand traps back to hand that I used last turn, right? All those dead cards that I'm like, oh, I have extra hand traps, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them. I just added them back to hand. I still have the ability to fusion summon, and this is OTK, right? And I can still, and now if I wanted to, I could go add, right? I could add Lucius back, right? Because I recycled him from before. And now I can normal summon. I have a normal. Normal summon, effect search. Go ahead, get Malulu, right? You know, we could go fusion summon again if I wanted to. We're not going to. Like I said, this is plenty enough for game, right? All right, and now I'm going to come back with combo number 2. All right, combo number 2, right? So we have a Shaddoll monster in our hand, right? I went ahead and went with Squamata because, again, this is our 2 of. More likely going to see him than any of the others. And he's also probably our highest return on investment, right? That's why, obviously, we were playing him at 2. So go ahead, normal summon, effect, fusion summon. Go ahead, do this. Use the 2. Boom. Make our Ethereal Lion. Ethereal Lion effect. We're going to go ahead and bounce these 2, right? We'll go effect, chain. We're going to put this one in the middle because we want to chain block it from Ash because he's going to dump, and then we're going to go ahead and set Rahu. Alright, and now here we're going to go ahead and dump the Hedgehog. Resolution, Hedgehog's going to activate, going ahead and adding us Beast. Right? So again, replenish our hand. Again, and then we're going to go ahead, same thing as last time, use Urgula, use the 5 mana, make Gulamel, effect, return on investment. I'm going to keep saying it because that's what this deck is all about. Set the trap. Set the trap. Go ahead, recycle, put this back, right? So now this looks very similar to our last combo, right? But if you notice, we have 5 cards instead of 4. So now when we go end phase, right? We'll let our opponent play, right? They summon. All right, effective fuse. Look at this. So now I don't have to use the Ethereal Lion off the field if I don't want to, right? I still have the ability to pop if I want to if it hasn't been chained. And we have the same ability to make, you know, whatever monsters that we need to make. We'll go ahead. Let's say we don't want to use the Ethereal Lion off of the field, right? Because we don't have to, right? Because we have the Lucius that we put back, right? That's the reason we use the extra monster to have the extra Dracotail. So I could if I want to. I'm not going to get any value from doing that, other than him being able to special summon himself, right? No matter the way I cut it, he's going to be on the field. So we go with the 2 from hand, summon. Effect to bounce, right? So we could go ahead and bounce 5 mana, and what else do we want to bounce, right? We could bounce his monster if you wanted to. We could bounce the Shaddoll Beast, right? We could bounce Lucius again. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna bounce Beast again, right? So we have 2 bounces, right? So we're gonna get 5 mana back to fuse, and we're gonna have Beast back after he's gonna use its effect, right? We're gonna go ahead, chain effective Beast, and then we're gonna chain effective Lucius to set, right? Cool. We're going to go ahead set Rahu, right? Because normally they would probably have a monster. I could set Ketu, but just in case, right? We want to play it safe. Move to the next phase. Battle phase, they attack into me, right? I bounce their attacking monster, right? And now I can recycle the Lucius, right? So, or I can recycle the Rahu if I want to, right? We're going to go ahead. We'll recycle the Lucius, right? We want to keep the monsters in deck, right? Those are the most important, right? And now I draw. Now look at my hand. I have the monsters on field, right? More likely than not, I'm going to have at least one of these on field, right? I have the ability to fusion summon again. I have the quick effect hand to fusion summon, right? So here, for example, I could go Rahu fusion summon. I could link summon here if I want to. First, if I want to remove a problem card. I got the beast back to draw an additional card when I fusion summon. Like I said, look at this exponential return on investment, right? So here if I go effective fusion summon, we'll go ahead and we can make Urgula, or I'm sorry, Ethereal Lion, right? We'll do this, we'll do the beast. And we can do, you know, whatever cards from hand, right? We can do this, we have multiples of, right? Fusion summon, make it effect. We'll go chain link 1 on the field, right? And we can bounce back this guy from grave because we have 2 on the field. We can bounce back the beast again. We can bounce back a hand trap if I want to, right? We'll bounce back one of the hand traps, for example. That's fine. Boom. Do all this, right? And then we'll go ahead and chain the beast here to draw, right? Because I want to chain block my Ethereon's bounce, right? And now look at this. Look. I have the beast back. I drew an additional card. I still can fusion summon, and this is enough to OTK, right? If I want to, I could fusion summon again. Like, I can make another Ethereal Lion. I can make Secretarion Dragon. I can make this, right? It doesn't matter. So we have a dragon and a spellcaster, dragon spellcaster, right? Doesn't, like, you know, whatever, maybe I don't need, I want to put one of the Ethereons in grave, right? That way he can come back later as an interruption, right? So we'll just make Secretarion Dragon. He's my favorite. We can go ahead and go use this. We can use, like, for example, our Effect Veiler. Again, another reason I use Effect Veiler, it's a spellcaster, right? Boom, boom. Keep the beast, right? Perfect. Battle effect. I can special summon any one of these that I want. Special summon this. And then we can shuffle back the Hog. So Secretarion gives you the ability to shuffle back your Shaddoll stuff too. Cool. Go ahead, special summon. And then we just, you know, kill them, battle phase, right? Alright, so that's combo number 2. I'll be right back with combo number 3. Alright, combo number 3, right? So here instead we have King of the Swamp, right? So we'll go ahead, again, you've seen this already before. We're going to go ahead, activate 5 mana, summon this, probably use a dead card out of hand. We'll just use the 1, right? We could use the King of the Swamp and bounce it back, but we don't need to really do that. So we'll just do the 1 and the 1. We'll go ahead, activate Ethereal Lion here. We'll go ahead and bounce the 5 mana. And then we'll chain block to set the Rahu. Right? And then here we go, effect fusion summon. This. Boom. Boom. Cool. And now here's the thing too. If I get ashed right here, I have King of the Swamp to fusion summon away anyways. So it doesn't matter. Because I'll have the ability to, if I go effect and they get ashed, all that this, that Gulamel requires is a Dracotail monster and a monster in hand. So I'm instead of using a monster from the deck, I have to use an additional monster from hand. But that doesn't matter. I'll just use like one of the dead cards that I have, right? Like a hand trap, right? Summon an attack position. Return on investment here again. Boom, boom. Set. Set. No. And then we have effect here. Give me back this, right? I could have used an extra hand trap to put the other Lucius back in the hand, right? Trading the hand trap for Lucius, that is definitely an option, right? But didn't really need to do that, right? But now, here, right, we go end phase. Now if you notice, right, my opponent starts to play, boom, fusion summon, right? Discard, I can pop a card if I want to, I'm not going to. Look, just because I have King of the Swamp in hand, I protected myself from Ash because I still have the ability to fusion summon. And if I don't get interrupted, I have the ability to make Dragoon, right? Exponential return on your investments, right? Use the dead Ethereon. He's not doing me anything, right? We go ahead, make Dragoon, right? Cool. Trigger effect, right? I could activate Horn here, not going to. Right? Battle phase, they attack into me. Pretty simple, right? Boom. This, I could recycle. We'll go ahead, recycle Lucius. He's the best normal summon, right? And then like look at this. So like I have this purposely set up to draw dead cards, but it doesn't really matter. I still have Flame. I still have Dragoon. I still have this. This isn't enough to kill right now, right? But my opponent has to play through this. Plus like I have hand traps in hand, right? Like even if I'm drawing dead cards, right? They're probably like hand traps, which means I have the ability to go ahead and hand trap my opponent. I have 2 bells in hand, right? Oh, Neos, Ron, you can't use bell more than once. I have Dragoon. I'm getting value out of this duplicate dead hand, right? This is a dead hand because I can't fusion summon anymore, right? I'm getting maximum value out of this hand because this is not once per turn, so I can double negate twice. I can bell my opponent and I can omni negate and destroy. Right? And I have the Flame, and if they don't respond to Flame, I have Gulamel. I have 6 interruptions right here. There's 6 interruptions. And this is a dead hand. It's insane. It's insane. Alright, and I'm going to be right back with combo number 4. Combo number 4, right? So here I've put Lucius, King of the Swamp, Shaddoll, Squamata, Malulu, and then a random monster card in my hand, right? So these are all monsters, right? No spells to fusion summon, right? I have a 3 of, a 3 of, a 2 of, a 3 of, and a 3 of, right? More likely than not, you're going to see all these cards, right? And if you remember what I mentioned previously, right? If you see Lucius, if you see Malulu, you have to normal summon Malulu, right? Because if you normal summon Lucius and you get like Impermanent Veiler, you just go, okay, cool, pass, right? And I have a single hand trap and I pray. Or, whereas if I normal summon Malulu and I get Impermanent Veiler, I go, okay, that sucks, pass. I still have a hand trap, but during the main phase, I get a chance again to try to fusion summon a Dracotail, right? Again, trying to get that return on investment. I don't have to do that here. I have King of the Swamp, which means I can normal summon this. If Lucius gets interrupted, right, they Ash, Impermanent Veiler, they hand loop themselves. I pitch this, I fusion summon anyways. It doesn't matter. Normal summon, effect. Go ahead, grab. Alright, we can go effect. Send this. We can look at all of these options I have to make, right? I can make Winda. I can, just look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 different fusions I can make, right? We'll go Ethereal Lion first. We'll go use this and Squamata. Boom. 2 cards from hand. Effect. We'll go Chainlink 1 to bounce. We'll go ahead and bounce. We want to bounce the Malulu, and then we want to bounce the 5 mana. Right? Boom, boom. And we'll go ahead chain Squamata, and then we'll chain Malulu to go ahead and chain block. Right? So we'll do this to set. We'll go ahead dump the Hog, and then Hog on resolution will go ahead and add me Beast. Right? And now look at this. Now we still have the chance, right? We can link summon. Boom. Link summon. Boom. We can go ahead and make spheres, right? So now if we get nibbed or like that, if we play into nib, we'll get, again, a return on our investment. We still have the ability to fusion summon, right? Now if, let's say, they Ash this, right? I still have King of the Swamp. I'm still protected. I can still hand loop my opponent. Go ahead. Make this. Boom. Boom. Cool. Go effect. We'll go Chainlink 1. So we've special summoned once, twice, 3 times. This will be our 4th special summon, right? So special summon number 4, right? And then special, or set and set. 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 Don't need to pop anything. Reborn. And now we still have King of the Swamp. And now I can go Urgula, add me back 5 mana. And now look at this, right? If I wanted to fusion summon again, I could, right? So I could go activate this and make Winda, right? Because I could go get Polly, use the Shaddoll Beast, use Malulu, make Winda, pass, right? But that would put me into nib range, right? Maybe I don't want to do that. So instead, I'll go ahead and I'll pass on this end phase. Pass my opponent, right? My opponent starts to play, whatever. So let's look at the interruptions on this board first off, right? So we have 1 in Heretic Seal to bounce. Heretic Seal is going to special Malulu, which is going to be effective fusion summon. We have the ability to pop with Gulamel. We have both traps. I have the ability to fusion summon with 5 mana, right? So for whatever she's going to make, she can make Winda, right? Or she can make me instead Dragoons, right? So those are all 1 interruption. And we're going to be able to draw a card, which could draw us into a hand trap. That's 8 pieces of interruption that we have. 8 pieces. Just off of what we have right here. Just off of what we have right here. Right? Summon. Okay, cool. Fusion summon. Right? Let's say we want to fuse. Don't worry about that. Let's say we decide to make Dragoons, right? I don't even have to use the Ethereal Lion off of the field, right? Because he's going to get banished if I do. Right? I could use Malulu, King of the Swamp. Boom. Make Dragoons. Trigger effect, right? Now that I've triggered that, I have the ability to trigger Gulamel if they don't respond to it, right? I obviously still have spheres, you know, etc., right? And now look at this. Now I can set follow-up for next turn, right? Perfect. Cool. Right? That's fine. Whatever. I could have done Winda instead. Winda could have given me the set, and I could have drawn off a Beast, right? So Beast would have replaced itself, right? They go battle phase. That's fine. They attack. Look, so they attack into my spheres, right? Perfect. Activate spheres, right? Tribute itself. All right. Response. Nope, that's fine. We'll bounce the attacking monster. This is, you know, something that happens very often, right? Boom. Look at this. We make Malulu, right? Battle phase. Main phase. Look at this. Now watch. Effective fusion summon. I can make another Ethereal Lion if I wanted to, right? I can go this. I could use this. I could use the Beast. And let's say I have like a dead card in hand. Boom. Make another Ethereal Lion. Effect. To chain block, we can go ahead. We can put back 5 mana. We can put back Beast, right? You know, I have plenty of different options here. We can put back Lucius for a normal summon, right? So we'll do that, right? Boom. And then we'll chain block with Beast to draw a card, right? Perfect. Now look, I have Dragoons on field, right? I had the traps, right? These could have been draws, right? So I could have had a 6-card hand right here. I have the follow-up to fusion summon. I had the ability to pop, right? This is probably going to negate something, right? So it probably would have been a 5-card hand, right? But now this is at 4,000, right? And then, like I said, I can still link something off if I want to, whatever. It's fantastic, right? And then I still have the ability to fusion summon. I can normal summon and search. Exponential return on investment. Like I said, it just keeps going, right? And I said the further you keep going, the more you get on that return, right? So go ahead, leave. So this is the deck, like I said. If you guys want to take a look at it, copy it, play it for yourself, right? Shout out to my buddy Jerry. Jerry, probably the best fusion player that I've ever played in my entire life. He's playing Dracotail at the moment, and playing him so much has really sold me on wanting to play the deck myself. I actually put him on this deck, so Jerry, let me know, man. Tell me how you feel about the Shaddolls, and yeah. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the other good stuff, and yeah, I guess I'll just catch you on the next one. Peace.